Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my first video on Fusion 360, which is just going to be an intro to the layout of the program. And as such, it will be going over that 3 minutes, but I hope by doing so I'll be able to cut time out on future videos when I'm going into the features. I'm going to be also covering some things that I really like about the program, as well as some things that maybe aren't as fond of compared to something like SolidWorks. And so without further ado, we're going to switch over to my computer screen. So we have Fusion 360. One of the great things about this program is that it is free if you're using it for hobby purposes or even for startup companies. I think the limit is if you're making less than $10,000 a year. I could be wrong, but if you know otherwise, please add a comment. I will be linking down in the bottom, down on the bottom where you can download this program. It is a phenomenal program if you're learning and wanting to get into 3D modeling, but you want something a little bit more powerful than like SketchUp or something. And so I really like the program. There are some drawbacks. It's not as powerful as something like SolidWorks, but comparing a program that's $3,000 or $4,000 to something that's free, it's hard to beat. So if we go to the top left corner, one of the cool things about Fusion 360 as well is it uses your internet to do a lot of its processing. And so all of your files are actually saved on your AutoDesk account. And so right here you have all of these different files that I've created, and it's similar to your Explorer file, your File Explorer, except this is on a web account. You also have just your normal files, so for like a new design, or if you want to open something, upload, save, and a couple other different features. Your save, forward, backwards. One of the other kind of cool features they have is they have tabs, and so if you have multiple projects you want to be working on, you can do that, and you can also just toggle between the two and interact with them, which I'll talk about a little bit later in other videos. In the top left, we have our workspaces where we can change the workspace. Right now, we're in the design workspace, which is just standard 3D modeling. But if you click on this, you'll have other ones as well. You have rendering, so you can make photorealistic images, which, again, for a free program, it does a pretty good job. Actually, I've been very impressed with its rendering abilities. Animations, simulations for like stress analysis, manufacturing, and you can get more plugins to add other options here as well, and drawings for like technical drawings. You have now right here all of your features for this workspace, as well as some more tabs for like surfacing, sheet metal, and other tools. And I'm going to be doing videos on each and individual feature, and those will be those short videos that I want to be posting. You also have a lot more options as drop downs. One of the cool things about Fusion 360, again, as a great starting program, is if you hover over an icon, it'll actually give you a picture example, text explaining what it is, as well as what the shortcut for that feature is. So in this case, extrude, E is that shortcut, which I highly recommend that you get used to using those shortcuts. It'll make modeling so much quicker, and it's just a lot easier. So we'll move to the far right corner. We have the toggle cube. Awesome little feature that they added in. You can click down with your left clicker and drag around, and it can pivot your object around. Other cool things, though, is you can click on faces and edges, and it's just a kind of a nice way to go around and look at your part and that home. But to learn how to actually do it with your mouse, you can scroll in and scroll out with your scroller, or you can press down with your scroller and then move your mouse around. It takes a little bit of practice, but this is typically the method that I used to move around in my build space. We go down to the bottom. These are a few options. I won't talk about these ones very much, but these three are pretty important. Some people really like being able to see all of the views. I don't. I think it's confusing, but some people will do that. So you can model in one of these and you can see how it changes in all these other views. I think it's a little bit more confusing, so I usually keep it just as a single view. Grid and snap, that has more to do with sketching, so I won't talk about that. Display settings, there's a lot of things you can customize with your display settings, just as a few. Like right now, I have shaded with visible edges. You can turn all of that off. You could have invisible edges shown. I typically just like it with edges and lines. And then I have also changed it to a dark screen, also personal preference. And Two last things. Down here, this is your build history. This is an extremely important and very powerful tool because it shows, as you hover over it, all the different features that you've created. And you can actually go back in history and grab onto this bar, and you can drop it off, and you can see it just took away that feature. This is nice, so if you want to add another feature somewhere later, earlier on, you can do that, and then bring the history back up. Very useful feature. You can also right-click on any of these features, and you can edit them or delete them, name them. I don't name my features, but very, very, very powerful tool down there. And it will get quite long depending on what you're making. Lastly, this is more just the information of the file itself, but it's also a very useful tool because you have things like this where you can change your units very quickly. And again, you can also name your views. Your origins, which is your plane, and your axes for the very beginning is turned off, but there it is right there. As well as your bodies if you're making multiple parts, and your sketches. Really useful tool. Kind of in my opinion, a little bit of a repeat for the history, but it's a little different, and so it's a very useful tool. But there you have it. That is a brief, real quick rundown of kind of the layout of Fusion 360. I really hope it was helpful, and if you did find it helpful, I'd love it if you would subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming up where I'm going to be going through these individual features and hopefully giving you the building blocks you need to make some really, really awesome projects. So thanks again, and I will see you next time.